Hi, welcome back to the Arcade Repair Tips video series. Today we're going to talk about taking out a coin lock or a lock on a game and installing a new one. Now I know that you probably went to an auction or something and you were disappointed when you realized you don't have a key. Well, don't fret, it's not that big a deal. If it won't open up and you don't have a key, by all means, it's easy to get into. What you can do, if you don't have a friend who's a locksmith like me, then you're going to need to take out this lock. Now a lot of times you can just take a big handled screwdriver and pry it up in here, and if you pry hard enough you can get it open, but of course that's going to damage your door, and I know a lot of you are particular about that and don't want to do that, like on this pole position here. So what you can do is, and you probably heard this, we'll just drill out the lock. Well, what do they mean when they're saying that? Well, what you need to do is find a pretty good sized bit. I guess you can see this on the camera. It's not a small one. It's not a huge one, but you'll get right in the center of that lock, right where you put the key in. Put it right in the center, and that's where you need to start drilling. Real simple, just like that. You're going to keep drilling through. Eventually, it may take a couple minutes. Make sure you have a really good bit that can drill through metal like that. In a couple minutes, you'll feel it break loose, and when you do, then you can take like a flat-handed screwdriver or something in there and turn it. But for those lucky of us to have a friend that's a locksmith, they can pick the lock pretty easily, and you open it up like this. Now there's only a couple tools that you need, and I mean, you can use a ratchet or whatever you want, but this is my preference. I like to use this nut driver, which is a 7/16. It's brown, the brown nut driver, and then we have a 7/8 ratchet. Okay, these are only two tools that we're going to need on this particular style lock. So all you do is take the nut driver and take off that first nut right there. It comes off real easily and pretty quickly. Then you slide off the cam or the shaft here. There's usually a washer in behind that. Save these pieces, because I can't tell you how many times I've needed a nut or something that size, so you can hold on to those. And once that is off, then you take the socket, turn it on loose, and that's what the 7/8 socket fits that back there. And then you just unscrew the big nut that's on there. Oh wow, I made some money today. Quarters falling out of this guy. There it is. The lock is gone. And you can, I usually store those extra parts and just throw the lock part of it away. I'm always needing cams, needing those nuts, things like that. So here's a new lock. I highly recommend that you go to Bob Roberts or you can go through Hap or somebody, but if you're in a pinch, I actually got this one at Home Depot. And so all you'll do is take that big nut off that came on it. Okay? So you're going to stick this in through the hole. Notice I didn't even take the key out. And then you're going to screw the big nut on there. Take it down as far as you can by hand. Once you get it down that far, take your 7/8 inch ratchet, put it on tighten, and tighten it down. Now the next part that goes on a lock is very crucial. I like to call it the Pac-Man piece because it kind of looks like the shape of a Pac-Man. All this does is determine which way the lock will turn. And if you're like me and kind of anal about it, I like all the locks to turn to the right. That way when you go to work on a game or something, you'll know, you'll turn it right, you'll get in a habit of it. So you want to put that piece on there. One way will make the lock turn to the right. If you flip it around, it'll make the lock turn to the left. And you can just play with that, you'll figure it out. Once that's on, then you got your long cam here. And these come in different sizes. You might need a longer or smaller one. Again, if you kept some of the cams off your old locks, you'll have some different sizes there too in case you need a longer one depending on the game that you're putting it in. Then you just put that, line that up. And on this one, instead of a nut, they used a screw. So I notice that sometimes on these. Then tighten that down. And now you're good to go. Turns to the right, locks, game is secured. Again, thanks for watching. We hope that you'll turn into more videos coming real soon.